Welcome.
No, different song.
Different song. And we're live.
What song? We have not recorded a live before, and it was bad.
Yeah. Here we are. Here we are.
What song do you want to sing today? Dreams, dreams, dreams. It's a Christmas song, right?
Dreams? I don't know that Christmas song.
What?
Dreams, dreams,
Not
dreams.
dreams, dreams, dreams. Dream, dream, dream.
I have no idea what you're
Dream,
I mean, you know, the tune could be like a thousand.
Howdy.
1,000. You know,
No,
different.
dream, dream, dream.
Dream. If anybody knows that. Dream, 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 dream.
Nope. It's 3 dreams. Dream, dream, dream. Okay.
So what are we talking about
Well,
today?
we're just 7 minutes.
We're waiting. I know. I've learned.
8:02.
I've learned.
1:55.
I've learned. Yeah.
Got some folks having some conversations with each other.
Yeah.
Ooh. What are we talking about? So we asked. Okay. So first of all,
How are you feeling, by the way? Are you feeling okay?
Yeah. Jane Kramer. Hold on. Scrolling up.
Oh,
Scrolling
look
up.
at that.
Dream by the Everly Brothers. Is that a Christmas song? Can we loop you in to sing it for us? Jane Kramer is an amazing musician, singer, songwriter.
Dream, 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 1960. Wow, I didn't know that this would get so much engagement. Can you sing it one more time for us?
Hold on. Now I'm not sure that the word is dream. Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go.
Dream, dream, dream. Dream a little dream with me. A dream, dream. Yeah, Jane, sing it. Oh, gosh, why aren't these things more interactive?
She's a lot better than we are.
Well, she's a lot better than we are, and you should look up Jane Kramer right now.
Yeah.
Like,
go
immediately.
Buy her album, Valley of the Bones. It's amazing. You should
follow everything she does. Go to all of her shows because she makes you feel
amazing music.
Yeah, but you also at her shows feel like you are, in fact, the one that she has written the songs for. I mean, they're intimate.
Yeah.
Even when they're full. Big, lots of people. Dream a little dream with me.
Yeah.
Now none of them are coming. Anyways, it's a Christmas song, y'all.
Good
I'll
deal.
send it.
Good deal. Christmas in June, right at the summer solstice.
Well, you are. Yeah. You are supposed to look at the other half of the year and kind of what your dreams were.
Wait, why?
At the like each marker, you look across the wheel to where you were a half year ago, and then it's a big indicator. So like at winter solstice, it is a dream time, and you set a lot. What is all that? Oh, chocolate. You have a pile of wood.
I brought wine and chocolate. Just continue.
We really crummy chocolate, I guess. Anyways, but like really good chocolate, but it looks like wood. Anyways, okay, so at winter solstice, you're dreaming, and because it's quiet and introspective, and then at summer solstice, you actually get to, winter solstice? Summer solstice? No. Winter. Winter is not solstice.
You're thinking, yes, winter solstice. You're thinking about the spring and fall equinox.
Equinox and?
It's in the spring and the fall, and the solstices are at the winter solstice and summer solstice.
It is really winter solstice?
Mm-hmm.
So you plant your dreams in
If I'm wrong about that, somebody correct me, but
you plant your dreams in your in the kind of quiet times of your life, and then at summer you are in fact sitting at the top. I mean, this light is shining so bright, and you get to have an honest look at what all you've created. And so in the world of KDV, which is a archetypal, she creates archetypal anointing oils. I'm not going to go into that, so don't ask, but you can look her up, KDV at River Island Apothecary. She talks a lot about this particular wheel, and in the summer when the light is shining, you are sitting atop the mountain looking at everything that you have created in this uphill kind of walk, and then the rest of the year is a slide into the darkness.
Wow.
So we are going to talk about dreams, because we're like living the dreams that we have birthed in our quiet times together, in our writing and reading. And
take it away. I'm feeling my energy's all over the place right now.
Take it away.
I need you to kind of center me.
Yeah, because I seem really centered. Okay.
You're super centered.
Cool.
Yeah, talking about the wooden chocolate and
the queen archetype. Okay. So we actually asked you all. So big news is this is the last live we're doing.
Yes.
Of we do the Love in the Time of Corona
series.
So we started this because we were lonely. Y'all seemed a little lonely.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to be on tour this year, so we were like, well, let's take the tour.
And this became our tour.
This is our tour.
Yeah.
But we've done it every week, every single Tuesday.
This is our 11th.
Yeah, even
episode
2 weeks ago when I was just coming out of anesthesia. So we've been really consistent and tried to be there for you all, and had a great time doing it and interactive like this. But we're going to go back to our old way of recording ahead of time and publishing them. And we recognize, because we recorded a conversation in the car driving somewhere the other day, and we were like, ooh, these conversations are genuinely different.
Yeah.
So they're a little bit less...
it's a little different when you're interacting with the camera, and we're just kind of like this scheduled time. One of the whole, and folks that are watching know this, like one of the whole premises, thank you, of reading aloud is that we are recording our impromptu conversations and then sharing them with the world. And so, we found that these are not scripted, but a little bit more...
Well, when they're scheduled, it changes the organicness of the conversation.
Exactly. That is exactly.
And for the best. So for the best in the sense that it's been really fun. But so we were like, what should we talk about today? So we've had some really hot and heavy topics recently. We talked about the patriarchy, we talked about defunding the police, and we've talked about racial justice. And we asked you all, what should we talk about? And got a couple of suggestions, one of which was that we should talk about creativity.
Love that suggestion.
Yeah, definitely. Creativity from the perspective of within the relationship. So how do you... Keeping
the relationship fresh and not getting in a rut, and using creativity to spur kind of inspiration and actual mutual creativity, not an individual's, but a mutual creativity.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about a little bit about creativity, but a lot about dreaming. So how we dream together. Because it is true that for us, our capacity to dream has grown exponentially because of being because we're together. So we both had dreams before, and now we have like epic dreams together.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like dreaming is it's really important to me. I'll just speak for myself right now. Like, daydreaming is one of the most actually spiritual things that I can be doing, I think, with my time. And because it opens up these possibilities and pathways of experiencing life and what life could be. So, you have to, I've found that it has increased my the ability to dream and allow myself to dream. It has increased my ability to just let go of constraints, of logic in a way. It's like rip this veil, if you will, of, oh, this is what reality offers me. this is what is presented to me. These are my options. And if you're not allowing yourself to dream big or allow yourself to kind of expand beyond what conventional society says that you can do, and actually create a relationship with that, not just if my dream job is this, my dream car is this, and saying it as a way of it's not attainable, but just taking a walk with your dog and just like looking out and being like, oh wow, what about like building a fort in the forest there, and then like what could we do with that? And that that's probably never going to happen, but why not let yourself like enjoy that experience? And so yeah, we'll just say a healthy relationship with dreaming is really important.
Yeah. I think you do a good job of that. I think a lot of people say, no, like, yeah, but, right? So they start to dream and they're like, yeah,
right.
but.
Right.
And then, so the interesting thing is that in a relationship, I think it could really easily, I think because of fear, people could really easily say, yeah, but what about this or that, or, specifically maybe about.
We're never going to have the money to do that. We're never going to have the time to do that. That's not possible.
Or really kind of looking,
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, the how, right? So the answer to how is yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that it's, what has been fun about dreaming with you in particular is that you don't ever, for example, like you don't ever say like, well, what about this, or how do we do that, or I don't know about this. I mean, you never squash the dream. And what that does is it allows it to evolve, because ultimately a dream lands when it's like got some viability to it, and you get kind of that either attraction or the right doors open, even if the dream shifts, even if the dream is what you might consider a failure, but like the doors will open and you just start to dream and dream. But like that initial dream state is like, there's no reason to say, well, what about this, like the devil's advocate perspective, because it just tends to shut people down. And so I really appreciated, especially in the beginning of our relationship, that you helped me dream having my own business. And I sat with for a long time, I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope I can replicate this for him, because especially now you have the more stable job. I guess that's not fair to say because mine's stable at this point, but I guess as an entrepreneur, you don't totally feel stable ever, really.
Right.
And so you have the more kind of traditional job. And so I have always hoped that like the day you come to me with your big dream, I would be there for you. And recently you've been sharing some really cool dreams with me, and I'm like totally there for you.
Yeah.
And it makes me happy that I can trust that. Like I don't worry about what the outcomes, but you really modeled that for me. Like if you had come to me in the first year of our relationship and said, I've got this big dream, I don't know how supportive I could have been.
Right.
I might have been in more of a fear.
You'd have been like, oh, another Asheville guy with his job.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You're right. Yeah. What came up for me when you were saying that is like this cheesy quote about, we used to actually joke about it in college. My friend Nick used to always say it with a tone in his voice that made us laugh, but he would say like, shoot for the moon, because even if you miss, you land amongst the stars.
I mean, but Nick's a great dreamer.
Right, Nick's a great dreamer. But, it's this philosophy, and I think of, we've gotten a lot of, I think in a lot of ways, kind of the wealth disparity, and I don't want to get into politics, but like wealth disparity and certain aspects of capitalism and whatnot have ripped people from an ability to truly dream. And because it's placed, and also a lot of this like bootstrap culture, like these stories that we hear, and inspirational stories are not a bad thing. I'm not saying that they're bad, but like there's this aspect that we communicate to people that, oh, they worked really hard, they tried really hard, and now they're a multimillionaire. It's like, oh, well, if I don't become a multimillionaire or I don't become X, like super successful, then why am I dreaming, or I can't have it all. But for me, the aspect is you have to let go of all that. You have to let go of those expectations, both an expectation that you're going to accomplish that, and an expectation, or that it will turn out exactly like that, and an expectation that you won't accomplish that. Just like drop all those. And at the same time, it's just important to know, where am I going? I don't know where I'm going to end up, but like that's the direction I want to move, because that places you, that helps you make decisions along the way to walk that path. And if you lose your ability to dream, if you're already limiting yourself before you even start walking, then you don't know how far you can walk.
Okay, so yeah, I'm learning some things.
Yeah.
So on the one hand, I really think that I'm good at not knowing where I'm going. Like that part doesn't bother me. Like, I started
Yeah.
this whole business, you pay a gazillion dollars to start a business. You kind of form it. You need your idea, your ideal client, all these things. And I'm not afraid for that to just totally shift and change.
Right.
On the other hand, the part about whether or not I'm going to be a millionaire, that's the part that I'm struggling with. It's like, I think, replace millionaire with just like successful at all.
Sure.
And that part is really hard. I don't know if Jane's still on with us, but like I'm thinking about watching her journey in being a musician, and just like how incredible it is to have gone from small sweet venues with her to just these really epic large venues, and watching her go on tour and all this stuff, and just really feeling like, for me, I don't even need to talk about Jane, but like I've talked with her a lot about this, but like for me, I really feel like, we've talked about this before, but the importance of impact. And so it's like replace multimillionaire with multi-million person impact or something like that. Not that I'm afraid to be a multimillionaire as well, but for me, it's really like
you have a desire to do that.
Deep desire, and so I am tied up in that expectation, but I want you to talk me out of that in a way, because I want to know what the saner path is.
Yeah, I mean, I think like a couple things come up for me. Number one, it's like letting go of the expectation that you won't achieve that level of impact. Like I think there is, and that is a mindset thing that you've talked about and you've trained on a lot in business, and I break it down to like letting go that I would never do that, or that's too big for me. You truly have to let that go. The next thing is like always maintaining like perspective, in the sense of all of these things are a journey, and this is why I get upset, and I gave that example earlier with these kind of bootstrap inspirational stories that we can get, because they're presented in this way of, I just did this, and this is why I think, in fact, actually reality TV has one of the negative impacts of reality TV on our society, because it makes these people instantly famous, and it really devalues in our minds the journey, the path to get there. And I work in like a social and environmental change field, and there's always kind of like, the big win when the paradigm shifts a little bit and the big thing happens. And we talk about it in the way of, here's what's happened, like here's but what's often forgotten is, the 15, 20 years of work, and we talked about this in the racial justice podcast too, and with the Me Too movement, behind that, the journey to get to that moment, to be able to set yourself up to seize that moment. So, there is an aspect of patience and a letting go of the urgency of it. Like you want to have an impact now, and that is special, and that is awesome. Right? You want to.
That is special.
It is.
But that's like the thing that you talk about, that you say to like millennials. You're special.
Well,
you're really special.
I don't mean it.
But that's special.
That's special. I don't know. I guess I just like like what is like number one, you could go down the road of like, and I'm just a little bit brainstorming here, I haven't thought about this. You could go down the road of like who's defining success for you and what does that look like, and you could have that whole conversation. And I think one thing that we've glazed over too is an aspect of, especially me as a straight white male, the aspect of privilege, and that society is structured to allow me to be able to dream and allow me to be able to think that I can do anything that I want. So I just want to like name that and honor that. I still think, not, I don't want to set that aside because that's a reality, but I still think on a bigger picture, like for everyone, dreaming is important. Um,
What's that?
I don't know.
Don't do it. Okay, sorry.
Sorry,
Ignoring the
thing.
computer.
Yeah, we're not gonna. A dream helps you take the steps to get there. We just got that comment. I think that's,
And it helps you keep going. Equivalent of hope, gives you direction.
yeah, just like, I don't know. It's like life is such a, in many ways, life is such a blessing to be able to even live. And I don't think that we're really measuring impact. I think that we look at people that have an impact, and we say, or we look at stars, we look at icons, we look at leaders, and we say like they're the one, and we do a bad job as a society to giving all the credit to individual people for doing it. And we forget that someone like, these kind of like, someone like Brene Brown, Oprah, like these like
Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga, like they are, I'm not trying to take anything away from them, but they are also built upon a mountain of impact and effort from everyday people across the world. And it's okay. I'm not saying that like, oh, if you just shoot to be an
Hold on.
everyday person, that's
Hold
okay.
on. Ring. Yes, Oprah. No, he's not saying this.
How to get this out? How to get this out?
No, can I help?
Yeah,
Okay, because
yeah.
you did a lot of talk.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's fine. No, what you're saying is like, first of all, people learn from other people. People work with other people. There's a lot of behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I think that these kind of influencers or folks with impact, they're definitely kind of being the recipient of there's a trade-off for being in that position, right? And it takes a lot of effort and energy.
Right.
Has some negative side effects at times, has some positive side effects. But, I think that what you're saying is there's a lot more going on than meets the eye. We see, the first example you gave, we see like a reality TV star become famous. Boom, right? Like that happened really quickly because they were selected for the show. Yeah. Then there's these other situations where, like, of course, in the situation of Oprah, Brene, or Lady Gaga, there's a lot of work that went into it.
Yeah.
And
on
also,
their part and other people's part.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're highlighting that there's a lot more that meets the eyes, like other people as well. And so everybody gets to dream and to be a part of it, and maybe if we de-emphasize that sort of singular structure where it's like you have to look like this, you have to have this level of influence in order to have met your dreams, and blah blah blah. I think that's super valuable for people to hear. I do. Hey Bob, hi, late. You can always go back and watch.
Bob,
it's great.
we're used to you being late. No.
You can always go back and watch, and of course the recording. But so also, Jane says the investment and the doubt and the impact. Yes, there's a lot of investment that goes into it, and I really have appreciated learning. It's been a hard lesson for me of successes and setbacks, or successes and failures. And just the rotation of that, because you think like in the beginning you think I'm not going to succeed as often as I fail, and that's okay. And then you kind of get to the next level and you find that more failure exists there.
Mm.
And then you kind of go up to the next level and you find that more failure exists there. And for you, you've highlighted for me the importance of recognizing that in that failure, it's at a higher level. So it's like in a new category, as well as like it doesn't take away from anything else that I've experienced. And so I just want to get back to maybe the essence of the initial question around creativity.
Yeah.
Of like, how do we be creative together? And I will say again, falling asleep, like, that there's an exponential quality when you feel really supported by somebody. So creativity is a luxury in the sense that it happens when your mind is idle or resting, or like you were saying.
Creativity is a luxury. That's important to state. Yeah.
For sure. And I know for me, you know, if I'm too many days in a row doing too much, like I will say, like I haven't had any creative bursts and I'm producing. And you were talking about it earlier as like on a walk, being able to just let your mind wander. So, you know, part of, I just like my leg is asleep. Part of having creativity in this relationship is that, I thought that was trousers snoring. Okay, focus. The part of having creativity in this relationship is that I feel secure enough to do so. You know, for one, I feel supported, but for two, I feel like I have space to do so.
So mutual support and creating a container within a relationship breeds the possibility for one to be creative. And if there's dominance or if there's an unhealthy dynamic, creativity is really squashed.
I think it has the potential to be really stifled.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, I also recall being single and being really creative. I mean, that's that too. It's like when you don't have any interference, it's also can be a really creative time. I just have appreciated within the relationship having somebody to bounce ideas off of, and then the collaborative components. And I deeply desire to further collaborate with you.
I appreciate
I mean,
that.
this is a huge, this is an incredible collaboration, the podcast, but, and then some, you know, I want more.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, one thing that I've been kind of tuning into, and this is not necessarily a relationship, although it gets into it when I believe if they're open to it when couples have children, but like you know, I think it's common that people think like your creativity withers a little bit when or your ability to dream withers a little bit as the older you get. Like it's really easy to dream when you're 10 years old, and it's much harder to dream when you're maybe in your 60s or something like that. Like and it's because you've like accumulated all this life experience to draw from instead of to look forward to. But like one way that, you know, I think is really common and hopefully folks will agree is maintaining a connection to youth and maintaining a connection to a younger generation and actually being open enough to learn from them and approach a younger generation and listen first. Like in my work, I've recently been getting so much I've kind of tapped into high schoolers and have them being interns and like creating that. And it's expanded my world as like a professional campaigner immensely.
Oh, really?
Immensely. The creativity and like and what I but when they were first there, I was having to learn like, oh, okay, I need to like teach them and teach them and teach them. And there is definitely an aspect of that. But lately I've just learned, step back. What do they want to do? What ideas do they have? How do they want to approach this situation? And it doesn't always work out, but like it's this mindset switch around like, oh, I'm older, I have the experience, I have the knowledge.
Well, yeah, because you work so hard to learn and grow. I mean, I'm learning something from you right now because I definitely would probably put myself in the position of expert / teacher.
Yeah, but the thing that I found you need to do is it's not like that you need to let go of all that you've learned. It's that you work to combine that with the new fresh the innovation, and you put that through, but you really use that. So, and I think speaking in a relationship, speaking in a relationship, hopefully parents find that in children, and being able to actually tap into their children to learn and harness.
And I thought you were going to talk about dreams withering because you feel stretched or focused in a different direction, and I don't want to act like I know anything about having kids, because obviously we don't, which is a whole other thing,
other podcast
on our fertility journey, part 1 and 2. Feel free to listen, but from season 1, anyways, episode, just kidding, I don't know, but do actually listen, it's a good one. But you
thought I was going in some direction.
I did. I thought you were gonna say about dreams withering, and I really, I feel like something that you and I have done consistently is let our is not wither in any real way, and just continue to grow. And even as things have changed, like honeymoon phase changing, or something else changing, or getting in some kind of rhythm or rut or anything like that, it's really about embracing that state and continuing to dream and be creative within that state. And I don't know if that's just constitutionally speaking part who we are at our core, that we're always going to want to dream, or if it's something that's more or if it's something that can be cultivated. And so let's just kind of end on a few things around cultivation of dream. I mean, meditation and space. I mean, get off the phone. I mean, don't get off yet because we're in the middle of the podcast, but
get off your phone. Yeah.
I mean, it's so freaking
hard.
Intentional
space.
Naps.
Away from screens. I think one thing that comes up for me too is unconditional love, and support.
Can you drop your mic now, or?
No, but just truly unconditional, you're
the only person who can give unconditional love that I know of.
Not well, if it's we're in a sad state in the world.
We're in a sad state in the world, and you are the only person I know who can give unconditional love, and you do an incredible job of it. And I think that everybody should witness, just watch you do it, because it's really not easy to do. And you make it sound you're constantly talking about love at the foundation of this, and you just randomly talking, and you're like, oh yeah, that's just an embodiment of love. And I'm like, what? No, it's my mind is not that open.
Well, I mean, I appreciate that. Thank you. It means a lot to hear that reflection. Thank you. Yeah. I just, you as an individual, I'll say this, I believe that you as an individual are stronger when those around you are stronger. And in my life, I feel fulfilled.
Thank you.
Lips coming out strong.
It's not. It's the R, fulfilled. That's just another word.
I feel fulfilled when others around. This quote, and people are gonna know this, but it's been kind of playing over and over. It's hang out with 5 smart people and you become the 6th. And I think that that is true, but there's an aspect of, in your community, supporting those around you to be their best selves. You therefore become your best self. Now, I personally, and I'm getting down a little bit of a rabbit hole, but I personally am really trying to figure out how to provide unconditional love and support, and simultaneously do that through taking care of myself, because I'm not as good at that. I have a little bit of a martyr syndrome. And we can do another podcast on that another time, or we have. Yeah, we have. But I do think that there's an there's an unconditional aspect to this. When somebody tells you a dream and you say, awesome, not, oh, well, have you thought about this? Here's what I think. Here's my experience. Just say awesome.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you feel like I have supported your dreams wholeheartedly, like with unconditional love, or do you feel like I've come in with my like solutions, ideas?
I think occasionally you've come in with solutions. I think for the most part you have supported them. I think for me, I haven't shared them as much. And that's my own shit.
No, but I mean like in the last week your dreams.
Yes, very much so.
Well, I'm doing better?
Oh, you're doing an excellent job. Talking to my therapist this morning, how great job you were doing.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I've been wanting to ask this question. This morning you said to me like that I inspire you, and you never really said any more about that because you inspire me, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is so cool because you really inspire me, but you made it sound like I was big.
You inspire me through your ability to commit and to do. You know, like I get lost in my head, and you're very a person of action, and I think we balance each other nicely in that. Because I think you know sometimes you'll get lost in the action and the to do, and you lose the bigger picture. But like you inspire me to like go for it, action, like do it, like jump into it, and I have learned so much from you about that. So thank you.
That's what you meant this morning.
I believe so. Yeah, that's kind of what's coming up for me now. So I'll go with that.
Well, you inspire me because you're so diligent and loyal to your process. Like I find that you are, well, it's a commitment thing, you know, you're also really committed. It looks different in the sense that it's, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're kind of a get knocked down, stand back up kind of guy.
Yeah, I think sometimes I think about things I don't think about things on a daily or a weekly time frame. I think about things on like a 6-month or a yearly time frame. And I
don't
flourish.
know how that has anything to do with what I was saying.
Because you're saying like I'm a get knocked down, stand back up, but like I'm not looking at the immediate interaction with it. I'm looking at more of like the vision, the long term. And so in some ways it limits me, and it causes me to not act right now because I'm doing this slower march. But the benefit of it,
a lot of integrity,
yeah, is to maintain integrity. Yeah.
Well, are there any last?
Thank you for like reflecting that too. It's good to hear you reflect that back and actually ask me a question about it. Sometimes I feel like when we have these conversations, your questions help me process it verbally because it's something that I've just kind of kept internally and have had trouble to share. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure. You bet. Thanks for sharing. Any last thoughts or questions from folks? People have been sort of dipping in and sharing their comments. Creativity is playful. Yeah. So like to create space for play.
Play is so important.
I was having a really, while we're waiting to see if there's any extra comments, I was having a terrible, I like wanted to take a nap, but it was like 5:15. And speaking of phones, I kept my phone with me because I wanted to put on a little noise, like sound machine. And instead I looked at my phone and it was bad. And so I like didn't get to lay down until 5:30, and then it was like I needed to be cooking, and it was too late.
Like 5:38.
Oh yeah, you were right behind me trying to close my eyes. So I put my phone down around 5:30 and like couldn't get to sleep, stressing out. My dog hadn't gone out to pee, and I was like all this stuff. Anyways, when I got up, I was like, forget it, I'm just gonna take a walk. And so I was looking for leggings to wear to take a walk. And I threw every legging out of the drawer, which is a lot of clothes because I, do the clothes thing. And I threw them all at you. And I didn't care what they knocked over.
You just went for it.
And that was playful.
It was super playful. And we had fun.
And we
chased each other around the room.
Got a creative solution to get out of my rut.
That's awesome. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it like that. But yeah, it's great.
All right. right, y'all.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Lastly, just wanted to remind y'all, this is in fact the last live.
The 11th episode and the last live.
For now, the last live of Love in the Time of Corona.
I'm sure we'll do some more lives. Yeah.
Love in the Time of Corona.
Died of Corona?
Dead. He died of Corona, so it's over.
Yeah.
Not funny. That's not funny at all. It's not funny at all. We're going to have to cut that out. I'm sure somebody knows somebody.
Yeah, I know.
We're screwed.
We are in a pandemic, folks. And
wear your mask.
Wear your mask.
Wear your mask.
Wear your mask.
This is not about your rights. This is just about I just want to say that this one woman on my Facebook.
Get it.
This woman was like, hey, everybody, I just wanted you to know that I was a skeptic about wearing a mask. I felt really irritated. I felt like it was an imposition. But then I got the coronavirus, and now my husband has the coronavirus, and now my kids have the coronavirus, and it's been 2 weeks, and we're still not okay. And she was like, I just want to implore you to consider to wear a mask and to forget about the fact that you think it's an imposition of your rights, but to talk about it. But she was like, but it's actually to protect you from getting the coronavirus, which sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So however you want to look at it, whether you're protecting your elders and those with disabilities and the most vulnerable, or if you just don't want to get it, just like, I mean, we're in such a crumb space, and I will get off my soapbox in a second.
Stand up. Unconditional support, my love.
That I just want to say that we.
We're ending on a high note.
That we're doing a terrible job with the coronavirus because this is a terrible angle.
Just go for it.
Then we're doing a terrible job because we aren't doing enough to have it spread so rapidly that it's creating enough alarm, and we aren't doing enough to have it completely collapsed and go away.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? We're like somewhere in this shitty middle where it's just going to last forever until we get it's like either like go, balls to the wall and have everybody recognize how terrible it is very quickly so then it will shut down, or just shut it down. We're doing this like drag out thing where everybody is just like, oh, and now I know 3 people and tomorrow,
it's like an unhealthy relationship. All right, yo. Love you. Bye.
Team, wear your mask. Oh, love you, Jane.